for joining me today for our practice. So today we'll just need a block just for a couple of poses, just kind of to assist us a little bit. We're going to look today during our practice at kind of exploring a little bit. Quite often, with flows, they can just be very up, down the mat. So we're going to look to travel a little bit around our mat. We're going to kind of go to all the corners of our mat. And in order to do that, we are going to be generating a little bit more energy. So you might just feel the pace of this class maybe slightly heightened than maybe what you're used to. But don't be afraid of that. That's why I basically said at the start of class I might get a little bit out of breath whenever I'm explaining it to you, because I'll always be doing the class with you. So we're just going to start off in a nice child's pose. So just bringing your knees, whatever's comfortable for your hips today. So if you want to bring your knees super wide, or if you want to bring them even closer together, you can. And just before you fold, just lifting out of your hips slightly, making your sides to your waist nice and long, and then exhaling to fold down into your child's pose. And the block is there, so if you want to even bring your head down to your block, if your hips are still quite tight, you're welcome to do that. And just starting to kind of lengthen our breath a little bit. And sending that breath just wherever you feel this in our first posture. Like I said, we're going to be moving at a little bit more of a energetic pace. But when we start to increase our pace and increase the energy, we then create a little bit of heat within the body. And heat is required in life to make change. So if you think of all the things that heat is applied to and how it changes them, whether it's burning something or cooking something or changing the temperature of things, heat is there to make change. So by applying that internal heat within our bellies, we'll then notice that change happens to our body. So whether it be an increase in our strength or our fitness, or an increase in our mental awareness, it'll allow us to tap in deeply to how our body is feeling. And it might even bring an element of surprise. And as we are exploring a little bit with class today, it's going to bring up maybe some curiosity. And I want you to honor that curiosity that might come up. If you have the block under your head, just move it out of the way. We're just going to lift our gaze slightly. I'm just going to walk our hands slightly over to the left and then resettle down into our child's pose. So really grinding down through our right hip here. So we're starting to stretch out our right side body. And keeping that breath with you. And then just picking up your gaze, and this time walking your hands over to the left hand side and then resettling over the right hand side, sorry. And keeping that space between your hands, so even though we're moving over slightly, keeping our hand at least shoulder width apart. If you need to make them wider, you're welcome to. And next inhale, lifting up your gaze, walking through the center. And we're just going to pick up our right hand, and we're just going to weave our right hand just underneath our body. So our all of our right arm is on the ground and we bring our right temple. And again, you can bring your head down to a block if you want. Using props is not a sign of weakness or a sign of inflexibility. Props are there to simply just bring the earth closer to us and just help us really ground down in our practice. So if at any point you feel that you need to use a prop or you feel like the earth is just that touch far away, and by using a prop you're able to really keep your breath with you, you're not struggling, you're able to keep your focus, then I encourage you to do so. And then next inhale, we're just going to swap that up. So right hand's going to come in front, left arm's going to weave underneath our body. And then settling our left temple onto the mat. And it's also important to remember that every yoga practice is unique to each person. So just because I'm doing a pose or changing it slightly doesn't mean you have to. You know that this pose here, child's pose, is always welcome to you. So if at any point you feel you just need to come back to tap into your breath, your thoughts are maybe running a bit wild, just come back to child's pose, take a couple of breaths, and then rejoin the practice whenever you feel comfortable. And then inhaling back through, and then exhale, just coming back into our child's pose just for another couple of breaths, and just taking these final couple of moments before we start moving to maybe set an intention for yourself for this practice. So just think, why did you come to your mat this morning? What do you hope to achieve by being on your mat? Think about that throughout class. Bring yourself back to that intention. And your next inhale, you're just going to slowly pull your hands up. Just sit on your knees. I'm just going to turn around so you can see me a bit better. And just turning your palms up towards the sky, doing some shoulder rolls. And just closing down our eyes. Just having a couple of few moments here, just thinking about that intention. And then blinking our eyes open and raising up our gaze. So we're going to clasp our fingers just behind our back. And we're going to hook our fist over to our left waist, so it just fits in nicely with our waist there. If it doesn't quite make it, just as long as it's sitting to the left of your spine. So you're starting to open your right shoulder, roll that left shoulder down. We're going to bring our ear down to our right side, so we're getting a nice stretch in our neck here. And let that left arm be nice and heavy. We're not forcing anything here, we're just letting the weight of our own body stretch it out. And then inhaling through the center and then just swapping up. So bringing your clasped hand to your knuckles over your right hand side. You might need to do a little bit of movement to get it there. Letting both shoulders drop down and then bringing your ear down. Stretching out your right side. And then bringing our hands up through center, just letting go of that clasp. Just going to rock forward just so we're on our hands and knees here. We're going to spread our fingers really wide. So you can pick your hand up off the mat and spread those fingers really wide and then place them back down. So your hands should be directly under your shoulders here. And you're just going to start to do little circles, just shifting our weight forwards and backwards. Going one direction 3 times, and then changing it up to go the other direction. So feeling the weight go all around all those corners of your hands. And then finding stillness. And then we're just going to bring our hands so that they're off the mat. So our wrists are just at the edges of our mat. And we're just going to skate from side to side. So keeping both arms straight. Just adding some movement into our wrists. And this time turning our fingers so that they're pointing towards our toes. And if it doesn't quite make it, just as long as they're turning towards your body. I have a bad left wrist and it never wants to turn around the right way. And then just letting your weight shift slightly towards your heels. So you feel a nice stretch up the inside of our forearms. Breathing into that stretch. And then exhale, just sinking back on our hips. So we're just going to circle that out a little bit. And just shake your hands off. Then placing your hands onto the mat, you're going to pick up your feet. You're just going to walk to the front of your mat. Your feet are going to be hip width distance. Really grinding down to your feet. So imagine there's 4 corners on your feet. So you've got the base of your big toe, the base of your baby toe, and the 2 sides of our heels. So really grinding down so you can feel your feet really planting into the mat. And just starting to let those hamstrings waken up a little bit. So maybe bending in one leg and bending deeply into the other. Then we're going to take our clasp, we're just going to put it at the base of our skull. And again, not forcing anything, just letting the weight of those arms just start to stretch out our back a little bit. And tucking our chin in towards our chest. Having a nice deep bend in our legs so our chest comes to rest on our quads. And we're going to start to slowly uncurl. So pushing our feet into the mat. Starting to straighten out those legs. We're going to make our way up to standing, but we're going to do it in 3 breaths. So grounding down with those legs, feeling those quads engaged, tucking your tailbone under, pulling your belly to spine, keeping your chin tucked in, and letting each vertebrae start to stack, one on top of the other. Slowly uncurling the body. Tailbone comes under. Shoulder blades down your back, lifting your chin, and then reaching your arms overhead. Then exhale, bringing your hands down through the heart center. Inhale, you're going to sweep those arms up, really grinding down through your feet. And exhale, your right arm's going to come in front, your left arm's going to come behind. We're just going to twist slightly out to the side. Keep those hips nice and forward. And inhale, sweep your arms up, and exhale, left arm comes forward, right arm goes back. Inhale through the center, exhale, twisting out to the left. Inhale up through center, and exhale, twisting out to the right. And then inhale through the center, exhale, coming down to your forward fold, nice flat back. Bringing your hands to the small of your back, you're just going to clasp those fingers, pushing your knuckles away from your body, rolling those shoulders back, and just letting your hands fall forward, opening up our chest. And then exhale, bringing your hands down to the mat. Inhale to halfway lift, push your feet into the mat, straighten out your back, nice flat back. Exhale, placing your hands onto the mat. Stepping back into our plank. So you want to think about your tailbone tucked under, it's magnetizing towards your sternum, pushing out through your heels, grounding your hands into the mat, and breathing into it. Feeling all those little quivers in your body, creating that heat, creating that change. Keep lifting those hips up. Inhale one more time. And exhale, sending your shoulders over your wrist and lowering your knees down to the mat and lowering all the way down to your mat. Untucking your toes. We're going to bring our elbows directly under our shoulders. We're coming into a Sphinx pose here. So rolling those shoulders back. And then we're going to push into our forearms so that our tummy starts to lift off the mat. And then we're on our knees, just walking your knees in a wee bit, just so directly underneath your hips. So we're in an all fours position here, but our elbows are on the ground. We're going to tuck our toes, and then we're going to come into a downward dog leg, but our arms are going to stay in this position. So really push your elbows into the ground, puff up that space, and then lift up your knees. Coming into dolphin pose. So thinking about that feeling in our front body and our plank, keeping that with us in this pose. Pushing into our feet, pushing into our forearms, setting our tailbone up. And then exhale, lowering our knees back down and just coming into our child's pose. On your next inhale, you're going to look forward and keeping your chest as close to the ground as you can. We're going to snake our body forward, coming into our low cobra. Exhale here. Inhale, push our hands into the mat, keeping our chest as close to the mat as we can, coming back into our child's pose. And then one more time, inhale, snaking our chest forward, into our low cobra. Exhale here. And then inhale, pushing back into our child's pose. You're going to tuck your toes under, and we're going to push back to our downward facing dog. So your tailbone's going to be shining up towards the sky, and we're going to bring our feet quite wide. So bring your feet so they're at least mat width, bend deeply into your legs and re-straighten. So just a little bit different with our down dog here, just creating a bit more space on the back lines of our legs, and really pedal out those legs, so let one heel drop down, other heel lift. And keep sending that chest down towards your quads and pushing that ground away. Inhale here, and then exhale, you're going to ripple your spine forward, coming into that high plank, bringing your feet back in so they're hip width apart, and push that ground away. Magnetizing our pubic bone up to our sternum, feeling those little quivers. And then with your knees lifted, or you can lower them, you're going to inhale, shift your weight forward, and exhale, lower all the way down to the mat, keeping your elbows in nice and tight. Untuck your toes, inhale to cobra, squeeze those elbows in. And exhale, pushing back to our downward facing dog. Inhaling to look to the top of our mat, and exhale, we're going to step to the top of our mat into our forward fold. Inhale to sweep our arms up. And exhale, just coming into Tadasana, so spinning your palms so they face forward, closing down your eyes, nice proud chest. So you're starting to feel a little bit of heat occurring in the body. Allowing that change to happen. Inhale, sweep those arms up by your ears. Then exhale, shifting your weight into your heels, sending your bum back, and then sinking down into our chair pose. So squeezing those outer hips in, make sure you can see your toes, and shifting the weight so much into your heels you can lift up those toes, and letting that tailbone drop down, low tummy up. And your hands are going to be, or your arms are going to be beside your ears. Inhale here, and exhale to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, and exhale, stepping back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that left leg up behind you. And then exhale, really hugging that knee in towards your chest, placing that left foot on the ground. Back foot spins around to 45. Inhale up to your warrior one. So left hip back, right hip forward. Then bringing both arms out in front of you. Bringing that left arm underneath your right arm so you create a cross with your arms. Bending your arms. And then seeing if you can catch your right thumb with your left fingers. It's going into eagle arms. It's really puffing up that space between your shoulder blades, sending those elbows away from your face. Inhale here and then exhale, bring that left shoulder down to your left knee. Into a humble warrior variation. Keeping that left hip tucked in and pushing out through the edge of that right foot. Inhale, back up. Then pushing into our left foot so our leg straightens. You can keep this bind or you can release. We're going to inhale to reach out of our hips forward and then exhale, fold over that straight leg. If you want to unwind your hands, and even grab your block and place your block just behind your legs here. Just keep sending that left hip back, right hip forward, and your hips should be slightly more squared off in this position than your warrior one. If you have your block, just place it out the side. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, placing your hands on your mat, stepping back to plank. Inhale, shifting your weight forward. Exhale, lowering halfway down to the mat this time if you can. Hugging those elbows in. Turn your toes and up to up dog. And then exhale, back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that left leg up behind you. And then exhale, bringing that left knee in towards your nose, really rounding up through your spine. And exhale, sending it back into your three-legged downward dog. Inhale, send that left knee in towards your nose, push that ground away, crunch it in. And exhale, send your left back. And inhale to crunch in with that knee to that nose. And then exhale, placing that left foot to the edge of your left hand. Foot's going to be at 45 degrees. And we're going to come into a lizard here. So back knee is going to be on the ground. And we're thinking about sending that left hip open to the left. Placing our right hand wide off the mat, we're going to open that up, peeling our heart open to the left hand side. And then inhale through the center, and then just heel toeing that left foot so it's in line with our hip. Picking up your back foot, turning our back foot this time to 90 degrees, your heel to heel alignment, and inhale up to our warrior two. Exhale to settle into the posture. Bringing our left arm to our left thigh and reaching overhead into our extended side angle. Sending that chest spiraling up. And then inhale up to our warrior two. Pushing into that front leg and then inhale to reach forward and exhale into our Trikonasana pose. So again, you can bring the block here and you can place your hand on the block. We want to keep both sides of our waists nice and long here. So if you feel you're really crunching into that left side, just raise your hand a little bit further up your leg. Keep sending that left hip back. Then inhaling up to center, and then just turning our toes so that both feet are at the right hand side. Inhale to lift out the hips and exhale to fold forward into our wide-legged forward fold. Just bringing our hands to rest down on the mat. And thinking about sending our weight more into the balls of our feet than our heels here. Just to really light up the back lines of our body. Inhale to halfway lift, and you're going to look at your left big toe, pick up your left heel, and then sink your hip down towards that left foot. Your right foot's going to spin so that the toes of your right foot are up towards the sky. And we're coming into a Skandasana, so deep bend in that left foot, so your left bum is going to come towards your left heel, and your right leg is going to be knees and toes directly pointing up towards the sky. And you can challenge your balance here or just keep your hands on the ground. So nice stretch in that right leg. And then we're going to do this on the other side. So you're welcome to just come back up to your wide-legged forward fold and then sink down into our right foot, lifting our heel up towards our bum, left foot toes pointed towards the sky, and coming into Skandasana on the other side. So deep stretch in our left leg. Inhale here. And then exhale, just spinning all our toes towards the back of our mat. And we're going to come into a runner's lunge here. So deep bend in that right leg, left leg's going to be nice and straight out behind us. So you're facing the back of your mat. Then you're going to pop that left foot in a couple. Inhale here, and then exhale, we're going to lift that left leg up behind us, coming into our standing split. So really pushing the ground away with our right leg. Left foot, your toes are going to point directly down towards the mat. And we're going to hug our hips towards one another. Keep grinding down to that right foot, lifting out of the hips. And then exhale, slowly bringing that left leg back down to the mat, deep bend in that right leg. And then inhale up to your high crescent lunge here. So facing the back of the room, exploring around our mat, squeezing our outer hips in. We're going to bring our hands down to a cactus shape here. So on an inhale, you're going to open your chest up, bring the shoulder blades together, and then exhale, bringing your elbows together, rounding down through the spine. Keep squeezing your legs together, keep that balance. Inhale to open up through the chest. And exhale, curling it in, pushing out with that back heel, grounding down through your right foot. Inhale to open up the chest. And exhale to curl it in. And then lifting your hands directly up overhead. We're just going to clasp our fingers and turn our hands almost inside out. So we're really reaching, so feeling a nice stretch in that left hip. Exhale to release. And then pushing into that right leg so our right leg straightens. Turning round, so we're in our wide-legged forward fold position again. Turning our front foot to face the front. Back foot to 90. And rebending into our warrior two, so facing the front of the mat. Deep breath here. Setting that little right hand down the back of your leg into your reversed warrior. And then exhale, we're going to windmill our hands down to frame our front foot, picking up our back foot, runner's lunge this side of the front of the mat. And exhale, picking up that left foot, bringing it back to meet the right into our plank. Staying here for a couple of breaths. Inhale, shifting your shoulders over your wrists and lowering all the way down to the mat this time. Untucking the toes, coming into our Sphinx pose. Elbows directly under the shoulders, rolling our shoulders back. Feet are untucked. Taking some nice deep breaths here. And then we're going to come back into that dolphin. So if you're like me, if your hands have come off your mat, just shimmy yourself back a little bit so you can really ground in. So picking up the tummy, picking up the hips, walking those knees in so they're directly under your hips. And if you're unsure if your arms are in the right position here, just they should look like a number 11. And if you want to even just make sure you can touch opposite elbow with hand. Pushing the ground away, tucking our toes, sending our hips up and back into our down dog legs, pushing the ground away, coming into our dolphin. Taking some deep breaths here. Using the ground to create even more space by pushing it away. Taking one more breath, then exhale, bringing your knees nice and wide, coming into our child's pose. And if you've lost your breath, just take this opportunity in child's pose to come back to it.
If it's maybe there's an increase in speed or a reduction in the depth of your breath. Your next couple of inhales, you're just going to come up to downward facing dog, so just in your own time, finding down dog. When you find down dog, keeping it as a restful posture. If you're still in child's pose, coming back up to downward facing dog. Inhale to look to the front of your mat, and exhale, we're going to step forward into our forward fold. Bringing our hands to the small of our back, clasping our fingers, and then lifting away. Rolling our shoulders down our back. Letting the weight of our arms open our chest. Then exhale to unclasp. Inhale, grounding down, reaching up. Stretching from our toes all the way to our fingers. Then exhale, sending your bum back behind you and then sinking down, coming into our chair pose. So magnetizing those feet together. And you want to have about either 2/5 distance between your heels, or you can bring it so that your heels are touching. And sending that tailbone down towards the ground, picking that low belly up. Taking one more deep breath and exhale to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, shoulders in line with your ears, and exhale, placing your hands onto the mat, stepping back to your plank. And you're welcome to come all the way down to the mat into cobra, but I'm going to cue up dog. So inhale, shift your shoulders over your wrist. Exhale, lowering down halfway, flip your toes, scoop your chest forward. And then exhale into your downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that right leg up behind you. And exhale, bringing that right leg in between your hands, back foot to 40. Inhale to rise up, warrior one. Real pushing out through that back foot. Bringing both arms in front of you. This time, right arm's going to go underneath left to create that cross. Then bend so that the backs of your hands are facing each other. And then grabbing that left thumb with your right fingers. Or if you've got both palms, you can grab both palms. Keep sinking into that front leg. Keep pushing out through that back foot. Inhale here and then exhale to bring that right shoulder down to that right knee. And if it makes contact, think about pushing your right knee into your shoulder and your shoulder back out so you really light up that right leg. And then your next inhale, coming up to rise, pushing into that front leg so it starts to straighten, and keeping your bind, or you can release, reaching forward, reach as far forward as you can, and then coming into your pyramid pose. Again, blocks are very welcome here if you don't want to keep your bind. But if you're keeping the bind with your arms, you keep sending the elbows away from your face, up and away. Creating even more space in your back so you can breathe deeply. And keeping those feet nice and active, so grinding down, left hip forward, right hip back. And then bending into that right leg. Inhale to come back up, unwinding your arms. Exhale, bringing your hands back down to the mat and stepping back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that right leg up behind you. Exhale, bringing the knee in towards your nose, push the ground away, crunching it up, using those tummy muscles. Then exhale to reach it back into your three-leg downward dog. Inhale back in, squeeze it in, and exhale to reach up. Last time, inhale, squeeze it in, crunch, 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 big curve in your back, and then placing your right foot to the outside edge of your right hand, coming into your lizard. So opening up through the chest, sinking that left hip down, Taking some deep breaths here. And then placing that left hand wide off the mat, we're going to peel our heart open to the right. And both legs should be active here. So hugging your outer hips in. Then exhale, bringing your hands back down. I'm just going to walk that front foot back so it's in line with our back, with our hip. And then tucking our back toes, picking up our back foot, turning our back foot to 90 degrees. Inhale to rise up, sinking down into our warrior two. Then bringing our forearm down to our leg, reaching our hand overhead, coming into our extended side angle, keeping that right hip tucked in and pushing that pinky toe edge of your left foot into the mat so we're getting a nice stretch all along our left side. Inhale here. Exhale, rising up to our warrior two, pushing into our front leg so much. And then we want to think about our right hip going back, left hip going forward as we reach. And then while our right side body is nice and long, just bringing our right arm down to our leg. And reach that left arm up, or you can come into a bit of a bind here. So just bend, turning your palm so it's facing to the right, bending in our elbow, and then just bringing our arm across the small of our back. Keeping our waist nice and long. Inhale here. Then exhale to rise up, letting go of the bind, and then turning your toes so that they're facing the left hand side. So you want your toes to be facing inwards slightly more. So lifting from our hips, lifting our low tummy up, keeping our back nice and straight. Exhale, we're going to fold over. And this time you're going to walk your hands back through your legs. And sending that weight more into the balls of your feet. Breathing deeply into our hamstrings. And your next inhale, just walking your hands just so they're coming below our face and straightening our arms. Picking up the heel of our right foot, so we're up on the pointed toe of our right foot. Spinning our back foot to face the ceiling, and then just dropping our right bum down to our right foot. Coming into Skandasana again. So you keep your hands on the ground here. If you want to challenge your balance, just bring your hands up to heart center, keeping that chest nice and proud, low tummy tucked in. And this time, if you want to travel into Skandasana on the other side, you can. So I'm going to do that, or you can come into your wide-legged forward fold. So pushing into that right foot, lifting yourself up, dropping your hips back towards the left knee. Right foot's going to spin up towards the ceiling this time. High on the ball of your left foot. So challenging our balance, really strong through our legs, stretching into that right leg. Staying for another few breaths. And then exhale, placing your hands onto the mat. We're going to spin so we're facing the back of the mat. So we're facing towards the back, coming into our runner's lunge. So pushing out for the ball of that right foot, grounding down through our left. And then just hopping that right foot in a couple of inches, and then really pushing into that left foot so our right foot comes to lift off the mat, coming into our standing splits. So our left leg is super strong here. Toes of our right foot are going to face towards the mat. We want our hips to be nice and square. And if you want to challenge your balance, try wrapping one hand behind your left ankle. And then you can wrap the other one. And feel that dancing in the ball of your left foot as it tries to keep your balance. You keep lifting out of your hips. Active through both legs. And then as if you were going to touch really, really cold water, you're just going to deeply bend into that left foot and let that right toes just come to dip behind you. Coming back into that runner's lunge, and then inhale to reach up into our high crescent lunge with a deep bend in our left foot. So really launching out through that back leg. Not letting your ribs flare out too much. We're just going to come into those cat-cow movements, so hands into cactus shape. Inhale, opening the chest up, shoulder blades come together, then exhale, rounding it in, bringing your elbows to touch in the front. Inhale, expand through your chest, lifting your gaze, then exhale to round it in. One more time, inhale to lift, and exhale to round it in. Then clasping your fingers, just reaching up. You feel a nice stretch from that right hip all the way up to your fingers. And exhale, release your hands. And then just going to come into that wide-legged shape. And then turn that front foot to face the front, back foot to 90. Bending into a warrior two. On the other side. And then turning your right hand, flipping your palm, reverse your warrior. And you can come into that bind across the small of your back if you wish. Taking some deep breaths here. And then exhale, windmilling our hands down to frame our front foot, coming into our runner's lunge. And then exhale, stepping back into our plank. Pushing that ground away. Thinking about sending your tailbone up towards your sternum. Feeling those tiny quivers. Inhale, shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, deep bend your elbows all the way down to your mat. Then setting up for Sphinx pose again. So again, if you need to move yourself back so your hands are on the mat, you can do that. So feet are untucked here. Opening our chest up. Hands flat on the mat. Again, you can grab opposite elbow if you need to find the spacing. And then we're going to come into our dolphin pose for one final time. So really thinking about, we were doing our cat-cow shape in the top of our lunge there. That rounding through your spine. Sorry, rounding through the top of your back. So focus on that when we're coming into our dolphin. So pushing into the ground so you lift your tummy, lift your hips. Walk your knees in so they're directly underneath your hips. Tucking your toes and then sending your sit bones up and back. And really pushing that ground away, feeling nice activation all on the top of your back and into your underarms. Picking your low belly up and sending those heels towards the ground. I can't see you, but I'm sure you all look wonderful. Taking another couple of breaths here. Then exhale, bringing our knees nice and wide, sinking our hips back into our child's pose. Taking a couple of cleansing breaths here. Maybe thinking about your intention again, or exhaling out a sigh to release any heat or anything that came up for you. Your breath is there to serve you for whatever you need. So inhaling whatever you need and exhaling whatever no longer serves you. And slowly making your way back to your downward facing dog. Then inhale, slowly rippling our spine forward, going as slow as you can so you're coming into your high plank shape. Keeping that strength with you. Then inhaling, shoulders over your wrists. Exhale to bend to the elbows, lowering down halfway, squeezing your elbows in. Flip your toes, rolling your chin and your chest open into your up dog or low cobra. Then exhale, rolling over your toes, coming back to your downward facing dog. And together, we're just going to take 3 big inhales and sighs. So deep inhale and exhale. Deep inhale, fill up all the space in your lungs, and exhale, side out. One more deep inhale, and then exhale, let it all go. Bringing your knees down to the mat. So we're on our all fours here. And then we're just going to slowly walk our hands out, keeping our hips up nice and high, coming into a melting heart pose. So we spent a lot of the class pushing that ground away. So now we're letting our chest just melt down into it. So usually in melting heart pose, you want to push the ground away with your hands, but just completely relax it. Don't even lift your hands off the mat here. So you can really let your underarms and your upper back sink down. And then just slowly pulling your hands back up, so directly under your shoulders. Just going to come into a thread the needle here. So inhale to reach that right hand up, and exhale, just sending that right hand behind your left wrist, and then bringing your left forearm down towards the mat. So a little bit of a twist here. Let that upper back just melt down into the mat. And if you want, you can straighten that left leg behind you and just place your toes on the mat. Just so we're getting a little bit of openness elsewhere in the body. Letting your breath hold no attachment here, just letting it flow naturally. And then if you straightened your left leg, just rebending it. And then tenting up in your left fingertips to push yourself back up into your all fours. Then inhale to reach that left arm up behind you, and exhale to weave our left arm behind our right arm. Again, bring your right forearm down to the mat. And then you can reach that right leg behind you if you wish. And just relaxing into our belly, into our face. Anywhere that built up fire and heat in your body during the practice, just really letting it go. And slowly tenting your fingertips, just coming back up into your all fours. And then we're just going to come into a pigeon pose. So if you want to, just coming into a plank, don't worry, we're not going to stay for long. Coming into a plank and then bringing your right knee behind your right wrist. Your leg is going to be at a 45 degrees, so the toe of your right foot is going to point down to kind of 7 or 8 o'clock. And then just shimmying that left leg back a little bit. Inhaling here and then exhale. If you wish, just slowly coming to fold forward, or if you have a block, you can even just bring your forearms down to a block. And thinking about still that scissoring action of our legs, so our right hip's going to come back, our left hip's going to come forward, and that's going to line up your right glute. And if it is too much for your right glute, you're welcome to even just sit on your block as well. Just to give you a little bit more stability. Like I said at the start of practice, using props is what your body wants to do, then you can use props. It is not a sign of inflexibility or strength. Everybody's body is completely different. Then if you come down to your forearms, just slowly making your way back up to your hand, just moving any props out of the way. Dropping to our right bum cheek, we're just going to swing our left leg round, so it's kind of coming into a half straddle, and our right foot's just to the inner edge of our leg. And we're just going to fold over that right leg. Just keep grounding down through that left leg, and again, if you want to come to a block, you're welcome to. Just stretching in that left leg, and try not to grasp onto anything, so if your toes are curled or the muscles around your knee are squeezing, just release them down. You want to be nice and restorative in this pose, so having a nice bend in your back, if that feels good, you're welcome to do that. And then inhale to slowly lift up. Then we're just going to change that up. So bringing our right leg out and our left foot's just going to come to the inside of our right thigh. And then just lifting slightly out of our hips and then slowly curling over that left leg that's nice and tucked in. So you're getting a nice stretch along your right leg, and again just releasing anywhere we're grasping on. Again, allowing the weight of our body to do the work, not forcing ourselves into any stretches. And inhale to slowly come out. We're going to do pigeon this time with our left leg. So you're just going to roll over, placing our hands onto the mat, stepping that right leg back behind you, and then just coming to settle into our pigeon on our left leg. So again, props more than welcome under your hands or under that left hip, just lifting our right knee and scooting our right leg back. Inhale to lift our chest up, and exhale just to lower down into our pigeon. Your breath should be back at a nice normal pace now. And if you're feeling anything in your hips here, just keep sending that breath exactly where it is needed. And then the next couple of breaths, just slowly using your hands to bring your body back up. Then just dropping over to the left hips, just swinging both legs out in front, just placing our feet on the mat and just letting both knees drop to the right and then drop over to the left. And then hugging your knees in towards your chest with control, you're just going to come to lie on your back. Sending both feet up to the sky and then bending your knees in towards your shoulders, grabbing inner outer edges of your feet, coming into your happy baby. So grabbing your feet a little bit too far, you're welcome to just grab behind your knees. Letting the weight of your arms, let those knees sink down towards your shoulders and down towards the mat. Keeping your tailbone nice and long here, so making sure that your hips aren't rocking up off the ground. Keep them nice and flat on the ground. And then if you wish, you can straighten out your right leg a little bit, just to get into those hamstrings, and then swap it up, straightening into your left leg. And you're welcome to just float between that. And staying for another couple of breaths, taking whichever movements you want in this pose, or even just taking a still happy baby. And then slowly exhale to come out of that pose. Straightening your left leg so it's nice and flat on the mat. And then you're going to place your right foot to the outside edge of your left leg. So your right pinky toe is going to be the outside edge of your left leg. You're going to shimmy your hips slightly over to the right hand side and then drop that right knee over. So coming into a nice twist here. So sending your arms out either side or cactusing your arms. And just letting that right knee fall to wherever it goes. It might only move a couple of inches, that's absolutely fine. If you want to just increase, you can bring your left hand just on top of that right leg. Just allowing a little bit more opening in our lower back and just twisting everything out. Bringing out anything that came up during our practice. Inhaling, bringing it back up to center and just changing up. So right leg is straight in the ground, left foot is going to come to the outside edge of your right leg, shimming your hips over to the left a little bit, and then just letting your knee drop towards the right. And your knee will be hovering, it shouldn't be flat on the mat. And then just picking up that right hand if you wish and just placing it on top of your left leg. And just doing a final pose, just let go of everything. Then slowly coming back through the center. Then we're just going to hug our knees into our chest here, bringing our forehead up to our knees, taking one final big squeeze, and then exhale to uncurl your body, placing your feet onto the mat, and turning your palms up towards the sky, lengthening out your neck, rolling your shoulder blades onto your back. Just coming to find Shavasana. Coming to find that stillness, that reward at the end of your practice. And just taking a couple of minutes here